So, landmark judgment by the Supreme Court here coming today, a historic day, bringing a closure to the 70-year-long dispute at Ayodhya about the Ram Temple, about the claims of the Muslim litigants. Finally, the Supreme Court has said that the disputed site be given to the Ram Janmabhoomi-Babri and a temple will be built at that site. Centre is going to form a trust to build the Ram Temple at that, and that needs to be done within 3 months. I'm joined by my colleagues in the newsroom here and Ashok, of course, who's just come back from the Supreme Court. Ashok, what was the mood like in the Supreme Court? That's one, but more importantly, what is the rationale that the Supreme Court gave in handing over the land and overturning the Allahabad High Court verdict and giving the land to the Hindu Ram Janmabhoomi-Babri?
Well, first we have to understand that this is a 1000-page verdict.
Right.
We have just got the fine print of the copy and we are still to go through it.
Yeah.
But from what transpired in the courtroom, the Chief Justice of India, who read out the verdict, very clearly said that they are not deciding this suit on the basis of faith and belief. Now, this was the argument which was made by the Hindus as well as the Muslims. They wanted the court to decide on the title of the land on the basis of faith and belief. Both sides made very strong arguments, produced evidence by the way of archaeological evidence, travelogues, and other historical texts were produced by both the sides in their favor. However, the court seems to have come to a conclusion that these travelogues, gazetteers, historical texts are not definitely conclusive in establishing the title of either of the sides. However, what the court has come to a conclusion is that they are saying that the title or the evidence produced by the Hindus is better than that of the Muslims. Second thing they have said is that the Muslims have not been able to show that they were continuously in possession of the disputed property till 1857.
Right.
Thirdly, they said it has been established by the Hindu parties that the outer courtyard of the disputed site has been in the possession of the Hindus, and they have since time immemorial continued to worship at that particular site.
Right. So basically it was all about the unimpeded possession of the outer courtyard by the Hindus, and also the ASI report is something that the Supreme Court went by and said that it's a credible institution and we need to go by the report of that institution, that the Babri Masjid was not constructed on a vacant piece of land, but there was an un-Islamic, a non-Islamic structure over which it was constructed. Could you, take us through that?
As far as the ASI report is concerned, the Supreme Court has said that it cannot be said to be conclusive evidence on the status that whether a temple existed at the disputed site or not.
Right.
But one thing that the ASI report establishes is that the particular mosque in dispute was not built over a vacant land.
Right.
Prior to the construction of the mosque, there was some kind of a structure which existed, which was either destroyed or ravaged by times, and a new structure was built over it. The third thing they have said about the ASI report is that it has to be taken with a pinch of salt, in the sense that ASI report is not conclusive but deductive. It is more or less like that its evidentiary value is corroborative,
right,
and not totally, it cannot be seen to be totally independent evidence. So now that is where the ASI report lies.
Right.
And the Supreme Court says that we can't rely completely either on the ASI report or on the question of faith and belief. It has to be a combination of various evidences that has been produced before the court to arrive at some sort of a conclusion.
And the 5-acre land that has to be given to the Muslim parties, correct me if I'm wrong or if my understanding is wrong, has to come from the land that the government took in 1993. Is that also, does that form part of the...
No. What the court says is that it's a special arrangement that the court has carved out in this judgment. It is saying that the disputed, as far as the disputed land is concerned, it shall be given to the Hindu parties. Basically, this arrangement has been made after 3 months. For 3 months, till the central government does not come up with a scheme or a plan,
right,
it will continue to vest in the receiver which has been appointed by the court,
right,
the receiver who continues to be since 1992. So that arrangement will continue. After 3 months, the court has said that this disputed site will be used to construct a temple. The central government will have to come up with a scheme saying that this land has to be given to a trust, who will the trustees be, how will the management of the temple take place. All these nitty-gritties will have to be drawn up by the central government. Now that is as far as the construction of the temple is concerned. Now as far as the alternative site is concerned, for the Muslim parties, the court has said that a suitable piece of land has to be given to the Muslim parties, and the suitable piece of land will be 5 acres of land will be given to the Muslim parties in Ayodhya. It does not say that it will have to be given from the 67.3 acres of land,
right,
which was acquired by the central government in 1992.
Okay, so that's completely separated. If they want, they can give it from that. Otherwise, any other suitable piece of land, which as the government deems fit. Let me bring in Sunetra here, our political editor here. Sunetra, it seems that the 370 tick, Ayodhya Ram Mandir tick, it seems that BJP is on a roll as far as fulfilling its poll promises, or what it was in the manifesto promises are concerned. This judgment, how do you think does this fundamentally alter the political landscape, and in what way?
Well, if you think about it, this just comes 3 months after one of the other promises of the manifesto. I mean, 370. There are 3 things that are integral and perhaps at the heart of the BJP's philosophy. And those 3 things are, it was 370 done in August, then it was Uniform Civil Code, and then it was building of the Ram Mandir. And so they look well, just within 3 months, they look well on their way of delivering on that promise as well. So the BJP is having quite a year. And what's interesting is that if you just look at it as a short-term thing, then this couldn't have come at a better time. Just a few days ago until yesterday, what was the headline? The headline was that 2 weeks down, you don't have a government in Maharashtra. Neither Maharashtra nor Haryana went the way that the BJP wanted it to. So immediately, right now, the complete shift of focus. The Shiv Sena will also now have to rethink its its antagonism towards the BJP, because on this issue of Ram Temple, this is their core agenda as well, and this is where the whole ideology comes together on this. So they'll find it very difficult to attack the government as stridently as they were doing it yesterday. And of course, as if you talk about headline management, well, this is now forgotten as a story, at least for the time being. Apart from that, you also have this entire fact. Right now, one of the things, news flashes that is coming in, as the BJP, the Congress has suspended its economic agitation. What was the story yesterday? It was about Moody's downgrading, making it from stable to negative. Right. That story again is now in the back burner. Again, it becomes all about the temple. It becomes all about Ayodhya for the next 10 days as well. So for the BJP, it's a huge windfall. And also the fact that they have managed this, of course, I mean, in a way, the BJP had been making the right noises. You had the Prime Minister, he said it today as well. In the run-up to this, the BJP and the Sangh, they were saying that we will accept anything that the court says. So they have made the right noises, but the fact is, it's interesting to see. Just wait for 1:30 when you'll have the Sunni Waqf Board also giving its statement and what they say, because it comes at a time, at the end of the day, the Muslim side has got those 5 acres. It was one of those things which were rejected during the mediation as well. This is one of the things that was offered to them during the mediation, and so there is a lot of rejection of that. The fact is that you also have, at a time when Kashmir has been without internet for a long time, you also have internet connection being cut off in a Muslim-dominated area like Aligarh. So I think the challenge for the BJP is how are they going to manage a lot of the law and order situation in various parts. Can they do it without clampdowns and on things like internet connectivity in various parts of the country?
A lot of WhatsApp groups this morning, they changed their status to only admins can now sort of send messages. And so I think a lot of people are being very cautious this time around. I mean, 70 years to the day as far as this dispute is concerned. But there seems to be a level of caution, because even the Sunni Waqf Board in the morning, they were making the right noises. They said that...
Well, let's not forget, Aditi, I mean, this is the issue which in fact created and led to the rise of various political identities. How did Lalu Yadav make his mark and create his identity in politics? It was because he was the one who arrested and stopped Lal Krishna Advani's Rath Yatra.
Right.
That is his claim to fame. The rise of parties like Samajwadi Party and the BSP were post Ayodhya, post Babri Masjid demolition. And so that is their identity as well. So a whole slew of parties. The Congress has made its name in being secular by talking about in the stand that they've taken in various issues like Ayodhya. And so, but today, if you see the Congress, they are saying that they support the building of the Ram temple.
Right.
So in a way, the government has been able to, the fallout for the government is that a lot of the criticism that they were facing on various fronts, be it the economy or be it the political situation, they have been blunted now, because on this particular issue, the economic agitation because of 144 has now been suspended by the Congress. And so we are going to see a lot of watch out for the law and order situation till the end of December at least. It's going to be a stressful time
so far
for a lot of the security agencies.
So far, the first few hours seem to have gone fairly well, given the fact that I heard reports coming in from Ayodhya that there was some sevak who sort of yelled Jai Shri Ram immediately after the verdict, and he was stopped immediately, and there was a crackdown immediately. And so the government so far and the authorities so far are keeping a good job of keeping things in check. But given the fact that this is a unanimous verdict, Ashok, what are the possibilities, or what are the chances of anybody challenging it or anybody asking for a review on it? I mean, the unanimity of the verdict versus the review.
Well, technically, you see, the Supreme Court is technically the final court of appeal. So this was the final appeal.
Right.
So this technically is the legal end of the road for this titled suit. But the Supreme Court itself in the last 20-30 years has carved out some sort of a mechanism to undo any kind of wrong which they suspect could have been done by them by the way of review petitions and curative petitions.
Right.
So technically there is a review petition which can be filed by the Muslim parties, and in fact Zafar Yab Jilani, when he stepped out of the courtroom, did say that he was not satisfied with the verdict that has been handed down.
Right.
And the Sunni Waqf Board is planning to file a review petition. So now as far as review petitions are concerned, they are usually heard by the same combination of judges who have heard the main matter. But here we'll have a difficult situation when Justice Gogoi retires. He retires in a week's time. So if a review petition is filed, another judge will have to be inducted on the bench and will have to hear or go through the matter. Review petitions are usually heard in the chambers. There is no open court hearing.
Right.
99% of the times, the review petitions are dismissed. But even after the review petition, there is another final shot which has been given by the Supreme Court by the way of a curative petition. A curative petition is basically an extraordinary petition which can be filed by an aggrieved party, bringing to the light or bringing to the notice of the court certain new facts which have never been argued in the past.
Right.
So technically now from here on, a review petition is possible
and a curative
petition is possible. Zafar Yab Jilani has said that they will be filing a review petition.
I'm just reading, there's some news coming in. One of the litigants, Iqbal Ansari, he's saying we welcome the Supreme Court's decision, and the biggest happiness is that it is finally curtains down on the long pending issue, and we will not challenge the court verdict from our side. So Iqbal Ansari, at least one of the litigants, of course, saying, Muslim litigants saying that we will not, but of course Zafar Yab Jilani has gone in a different direction. So, and he is the more powerful voice as far as this particular case is concerned.
As far as this particular case is concerned, there were a bunch of petitions.
Right.
In fact, there were more than 52 petitions which had been filed. almost 20 from the Hindu side, and the rest of them from the Muslim side. So now here, when you say that Iqbal Ansari says that he welcomes the verdict and he believes that there has to be a finality to litigation, and he agrees what the Supreme Court is saying, that's just one of the litigants to the case who's saying so. As far as review is concerned, any litigant, any party to the case can go to the court and file a review petition.
Sunitra, you want to bring us in and tell us about the political reaction so far from the Congress and the BJP. Of course, the Congress has said that this should not be, the verdict should not be seen as a win-win for the Modi government per se, or not as a, not a, because it's the Supreme Court and not the government, and that they have always been in favor. Could you just take us through what are the other reactions coming in?
Well, lots of reactions coming in. For example, as I said, the Congress is now putting on hold their entire economic agitation. So that is there. What's also interesting to see is the fact that, Aditi, this is going to have a major impact on various elections that are coming up. You have the Jharkhand round the corner.
Right.
So in which there was a lot of talk about the alliances just been announced. This is going to make things very, very convenient for the BJP, for which this is a key area. A lot of the alliances, I mean, we talked about the Shiv Sena, but the fact is, what about Nitish Kumar? How is Nitish Kumar, who is uneasy about all this with a large number of Muslims in his area, in Bihar, how is he going to deal with this? So his constituency and his reactions are going to be very, very interesting to hear from. Then, because in a way, this, just as Babri Masjid demolition defined the entire generation, defined how secularism is defined in India, this is now going to be the talking point of how Muslims see the state and secularism. There is a lot of points which I believe, Ashok, that have been made in the judgment about secularism and about the Muslim community. This is going to be, they're going to become quotes, they are going to be things that people refer to, because this is the final judgment that is there in a dispute which has been there for so long. So it really impacts on, and let's not forget that in 2019, what was the addition to Modi's call? He said Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas in 2014. The addition to that was Sabka Vishwas. So how are they going to use this to engage with the Muslim community? How are they going to respond? These are things to, and will this in a way also impact the 2020 Delhi elections, which are just around the corner? Because in a way, Delhi becomes also, it's the, this Delhi Rest Amendment 2015, it went completely against the whole Modi wave. Right. But will this be different because of the fact that you have the Ram Temple, and will Arvind Kejriwal then just try to avert that by talking only about local issues? So these are really interesting points, and I think it's just going to completely change the way this becomes our new kind of landmark to look at.
I just want to understand from you the whole thing about suspending the economic agitation about the Congress. Maybe that now's not the right time, because BJP is ticking all the right boxes, but on the economy front, the BJP is really seems to be floundering. The government seems not to be able to take it anywhere.
No, but in this particular one, they have said, which is right, that because the government has Section 144 in place, which bars the assembly of more people, so they can't really do this. So it is
from that perspective.
From that perspective, that is the reason that has been cited. But for the BJP, it's a win-win.
For the BJP, it's a win-win, but the fact remains
and I
that
think
the
it's
economy is
that
in shamble.
Whether it's Mohan Bhagwat or the Prime Minister, everyone's pointing out the fact that this can't be seen as a win for either parties. But if you look at it politically, it really is a win-win.
Yes, that's exactly. Modi. So what
for the BJP and the government.
What exactly has the ruling party so far said? You talked about a tweet from Mr. Modi just now a while back.
The Prime Minister said very clearly that this is something that he appreciated, the kind of calm and the kind of order in maintaining peace in the run-up to the judgment, and he expressed hope that it was going to be the same way in the fallout of the judgment as well. He reiterated the fact that this should not be seen as a win for one party and a loss for another party. He talked about equality and about the values and how patriotism trumps all. So these are some of the
nice words there. Eventually, how they actually translate in reality, because 370 was also not supposed to be, tom-tommed by or the win of one political party. But then this judgment, of course, coming in favor or seeming to look like BJP is ticking the boxes on all its manifesto promises for now. We'll keep coming back to you with more updates. Keep watching HindustanTimes.com.